Hi again. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about how we handle the disappointment of a prayer that we had wanted to be answered in a different way. So within the last 2 weeks, a family member of mine passed away, one of my uncles. And at the funeral, one of my other uncles said something that I thought was really interesting. The uncle who had passed away because of a decision that he made that had unintentional consequences. And it's something that he had been battling with for a really long time, years and years and years, the majority of his life. And, this other uncle, as he was kind of talking about this brother of his who had passed, he talked a lot about praying for him to overcome this struggle, this trial, and to get him out of this hell that he was living in, because my uncle who passed away, he didn't want to be struggling the way that he was. But it's really hard to overcome any type of addiction. And so this uncle who is surviving said that he felt as though his prayer had been answered, but obviously answered in a way that he didn't want, didn't expect. He had hoped that his brother would be able to come out on the other side stronger and having overcome this issue. And that isn't what happened. And he realized that, in a way, the Lord answered his prayers, because this uncle is now no longer burdened by this trial. He is now with one of my cousins, and he's with his mother, my grandmother. And honestly, that's the best place to be. But there is a lot of bittersweet in that, because he's no longer in that pain and that turmoil, but he leaves behind people who are now in pain and turmoil because he's not with us anymore. And of course, we know that there is life after death. Death is just a word that we use to describe the temporary absence when we don't see them, feel them, hear them. And that's really hard, because the thing is that right now we have to exercise faith in order to get us through sometimes. But what a blessing that is to know, to have faith in a bigger picture, and that there is something after this, and that this isn't all that there is, and that suffering is exalting, and it teaches us so many things. And I also think about with my cancer that I talked about in my last video. And something that I don't tell a lot of people, just because it's kind of like TMI, but I have another medical condition in which I don't want to say too much for the sake of privacy and that kind of thing, but I have a medical condition that for many years has been very painful. And I have prayed for a long time that God could take the pain away, that he could make it stop. Well, be careful what you wish for. Because I prayed about that a number of times over a period of a couple years. And then I actually was diagnosed with cancer. And the medicine that I take, one of the medicines that I take to help fight my cancer, takes that pain away. It deals with the other condition in an unexpected way. And even though I don't believe that God gave me this cancer in general, but also I just don't believe that he gave me this cancer to answer that prayer. But the Lord sees the bigger picture and he knows what's coming. And there really is something to be said for using our sorrows and our trials to bless us. And he knew that I was going to be getting breast cancer, and that by the time they found it, it was going to be quite far along. And he said, okay, well, you're praying this prayer for this specific thing, and so I'm going to use this trial that I know is coming, and I'm going to use it to answer that prayer and to bless your life. And in the midst of all of that, I'm also going to make sure that this cancer doesn't take you, at least not right now. I'm still in remission, but you never know. The Lord calls his children home when he calls them home. And so that's still to be determined the day that I return home. But for now, he's using this trial to bless my life, to answer this prayer that I have. And it's in a very unexpected way. And if you would have told me this, 10 years ago, that this would be happening to me, it would have been really hard to believe that something like cancer could bless me and that it would mold me into something new and different and better. But that's exactly what it's done. And so yeah, what can we do when our prayers are answered in a way that we don't expect, or a way that we don't appreciate at first? I've said it before, I am a supporter of kind of yelling when you need it and taking it to God and just saying, even if, and I know that this is controversial, there are going to be people who disagree with me, but I think about a child here in this world. Many of you will have children of your own, and I'm sure that all of you can say that with your children, they have told you that they hate you at least once in their lives when you have made a guideline or a boundary or a rule, and they're trying to break it, and you're putting your foot down. And in that moment, that child feels like they just really hate you right now. And that is our relationship with God. We are literal toddlers to him. So we're coming down here and we're learning all of these new, fun, painful things. And sometimes in the moment, we need to be that toddler that's kicking and screaming on the floor and saying, I hate you right now. He can handle it. He can. And it's far more important that we continue to have this discourse with him, that we keep coming to the table and discussing things with him, sharing not only the pain, but the joy. And sometimes the pain is, I hate you right now for letting me go through this. he gets it. He gets it. And so yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I'm not suggesting you do that all the time, but if you need it, if you need that moment where you just need to kick and scream and feel like a psycho, but keep bringing it to him. And he can take these hardships, these trials, and he can use them to bless your life in a way that you don't expect. So when you're in the midst of a trial and you're thinking, well, this is really lousy, this isn't what I asked for, try to step back. And even though you can't see the future, you can't see the bigger picture, you can remind yourself, somehow the Lord's going to use this for me. Somehow this is going to bless my life. And, I like to laugh about it now, and I like to make jokes about how when I was praying those prayers, and then I got cancer, and it answered those prayers, I was like, this is not exactly what I meant. I didn't mean this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I meant, because I have changed for the better because of these trials. And so even though my prayers were answered in a way that I did not expect and did not want, frankly, in the beginning, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for these trials and for the suffering. And I'm not terribly grateful for it when I'm in the midst of it. But that's why we keep holding on to the rod. We keep moving forward. Because they're holding on with us. And there's a metaphor, and I might have mentioned it in one of my other videos before, but I don't remember. But there's a metaphor about oxen and the yoke that goes around their neck. And if you are one oxen trying to pull a very heavy cart, it's really hard. It's really hard. And, the cart is full of all these things, and maybe it's full of people too, and you're just one oxen. But if you get another oxen, like the Savior, and he puts that yoke around his neck too, suddenly the burden is not as heavy. That doesn't mean it goes away. That's something that people really need to understand, is that this life, not only is it for beautiful, positive things, it's also to learn suffering. It just is. And you don't have to like it. I'm giving you permission to not have to like it. Someday, when you see the bigger picture, it is going to make sense, but it's also okay to feel like, to be, I call it a stroppy child. I grew up in England. I know the accent's a dead giveaway, but in England, to describe a child that is throwing a fit, kicking, screaming, crying, you would say they're having a strop. They're a stroppy child. And as grown-ups, sometimes we need that too. And I think that's okay. And frankly, I think he thinks it's cute sometimes. That's what I tell myself. That's my wishful thinking. But yeah, anyway, I wish I could give you, a foolproof way that you could just not hurt anymore and be okay with not knowing and taking one step, putting one step or one foot in front of the other in just darkness, and all you can see, all that's illuminated in front of you is the next step. But it wouldn't help you. It wouldn't bless you to have all the answers, because the fact of the matter is that we grow in trial. And so I don't want to, I would never want to remove that from myself. I wouldn't want to remove it from you because it's important and it is a blessing ultimately. So I hope that somewhere in this message, even though it was maybe a little disjointed, and even though I can't come to you with an answer of here's what you do to make it not hurt anymore, I hope that you can keep in mind that just because you don't have all the answers, and just because a prayer is answered in a way that you didn't expect or want, doesn't mean that it was the wrong answer. Sometimes the right answer is that you have to feel it and maybe make yourself laugh. I'm a big fan of dark humor. I know not everybody else is, but I told someone the other day that being able to laugh at my situation doesn't make the cancer go away. It doesn't heal me, but it does make me laugh. And sometimes laughter is where the healing is. So, God bless you.